I, Linda, have been single ever since my divorce 20 years ago. This year, I turned 53. I work as an office clerk at a factory nearby. Today, like every other day, I head home alone after work. I stop at the supermarket, buy some groceries, and return to my modest apartment. At home, I cook a simple meal and eat dinner by myself. Then I take a bath, drink some wine while watching TV, and go to bed when I feel sleepy. When I wake up, it's morning again, and a new long day begins. This is my routine on weekdays. On weekends, I do household chores and have plenty of time to spare, with nothing much to do. I spend my days lounging or watching TV. Without any hobbies, I just pass the time, feeling unfulfilled. The lonely hours at home make me grow increasingly displeased with myself. At my age, remarrying is hard, and my friends are all busy with their families, so I hesitate to call them over. I realize I've just been living a plain and simple life. I was once married and lived a happy life. I was blessed with a lovely son. But since my divorce, I haven't seen my ex-husband, John, or my son, Michael, even once. The divorce was due to irreconcilable differences with John. When we were dating and newly married, we cared for each other and held back our opinions. Both John and I are strong-willed and often insisted on our own way. The longer we were together, the less we held back, hurting each other until we couldn't take it anymore. That's why we got divorced. John, who had a higher income, got custody of Michael. It was hard to be away from my beloved son, but I thought he'd be happier with his well-off father, so I suppressed my desire to live with him. I decided not to see Michael, considering he might have a new mom. He probably doesn't even remember me. It makes me sad to think about it. What has the little boy I remember grown up to be like? Sometimes I long to see him. Feeling down, I thought of him one day. Maybe I should dress up and go shopping. I took out my favorite skirt from the closet and tried it on. But it was too tight at the waist, and I couldn't zip it up. Ugh, it's tight. Then I stepped on the scale and saw I'd gained 11 pounds. Looking in the mirror, I saw a round figure staring back. Oh no. I looked terrible. Seeing that, I knew I had to change. I decided to join a gym for the first time in my life. I quickly looked up nearby gyms on the internet and went to one. Excuse me. It's my first time here. When I spoke to a female staff member at the entrance, she said, "I'll call someone to assist you, please wait over there." It felt somewhat empty, a middle-aged woman alone at the gym on a weekend, trying to lose weight, but it's better than getting heavier. Then, I looked around and remembered the days when I was dating my ex-husband, John. He used to go to the gym almost every day. Our routine was that I would pick him up from the gym before our dates. John, with his tanned and toned body, was good at sports and had a kind personality. Thinking about it, he was a wonderful boyfriend, almost too good for me. I think the time I spent with him was the happiest in my life. Lost in these thoughts, I casually looked ahead and couldn't believe my eyes. There was a young man at the reception who looked just like John when he was younger. John. Not just his face, but even the build of his muscles and his tanned skin were identical to my ex-husband. This young man looked to be in his mid-20s. My son, Michael, would be about that age now. Could it be Michael? Could this young man in front of me be Michael, grown up to look just like his father? I impulsively approached him and asked. "Excuse me. You look a lot like someone I know. May I ask your first name?" "What?" The man looked surprised. Of course, he would be. Any young man would be startled if a middle-aged woman suddenly approached and asked for his first name, not his last. Despite understanding this, I couldn't help myself. After a moment, he replied, "I'm Jake." His voice was just like John's. I felt even more disappointed. It wasn't him. The excitement of possibly having met my son vanished in an instant. Just someone who looks similar. I guess I was mistaken. Sorry to bother you suddenly. After that, I completed the registration and joined the gym. The young man, Jake, who resembled my ex-husband John, seemed to be a trainer. Every time I saw him, I couldn't help but watch. He really does look like him. He's the spitting image of the younger John. John used to box before we got married, and his well-trained body was admirable. After marriage, he quit boxing, and as he aged, he started to gain a belly, jokingly calling himself seal-like, but now I'm the one who has become seal-like. Desperate to change, I kept running on the treadmill. Then, every Sunday, going to the gym and seeing Jake, who looked like John, became a secret pleasure. Wanting to talk to him, I would think of questions at home and then approach him with them. What should I ask this weekend? Holding a pen, I wrote down questions in my notebook. First, how long should I run to lose weight? Oh, and what kind of training would be best? I deliberately thought of easy, harmless questions and practiced asking them before speaking to him. His responses were always curt. If you're running here but still consuming calories at home, it's hard to lose weight, you know. His indifferent replies were always the same. But I was happy, feeling like I was talking to my son. As we talked more and more, he gradually became accustomed to conversing with me, and started to share a bit about himself during breaks in his training. He told me he had been working in an office since becoming a working adult, but wanted a job that involved physical activity, so he job hunted and ended up at this gym. I wonder if my son is also working hard like this. Has he grown up to be an adult? Talking to him always makes me think of Michael. Though I couldn't see my son grow up, I still feel a bit sad about it. One thing I've always wanted since I was a kid was to get strong by working out. By the way, do you have any kids? One day, his question caught me off guard. Wiping the sweat with a towel, I said. I have a son, but due to circumstances, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Then Jake casually started talking. I haven't seen my mom for a long time either. Did you have any troubles? Thoughts of my son flickered in my mind. Mostly meals. My dad's cooking is pretty rough. He spoke with his head down, and in him, I saw Michael. Maybe I caused my son some hardships too. Thinking that made my heart ache. My son is about your age. I haven't seen him for decades, so he probably doesn't remember me. Then Jake thought for a while and quietly said, if you get a chance, you should meet him. Maybe your son wants to see the face of the mother who gave birth to him. On my way home from the gym that day, I kept thinking about our conversation. What would Michael look like if I met him now? Is there anything I can do for him now, after all this time? No, better not to. It's pointless to even think about it. That night, I drank more than usual. Oh well, today's workout is undone by this. Muttering to myself, I took out the third beer from the fridge. Then one day, after finishing at the gym, I was heading to the bicycle parking area, intending to ride home. Walking alone through the usually deserted pathway, suddenly a group of unfamiliar men appeared and surrounded me. They were a gang of 5 intimidating-looking boys. Hey, lady, lend us some money. Huh? No. Why should I lend you money? Come on, just hand over your purse. You have it, don't you? A blonde guy with a scar on his face pressed in. I was terrified. What should I do? I was shaking with fear. Someone, help me. I tried to scream, but no voice came out. My legs were frozen, and I couldn't move from the spot. Then, Jake appeared in front of me. Hey. What are you guys doing? When he shouted, the blonde-haired guy retorted, what's it to you? I thought, this is bad, it might turn into a fight. Just then, one of his buddies said, hey. I know that guy. He's a former professional boxer. Really strong. Let's get out of here. The blonde-haired guy made a panicked face and said, what, really? Then he shouted, let's get out of here, and the gang of 5 ran off all at once. I watched the scene in shock. Thank you. Were you a professional boxer, Jake? Yes, I was. Be careful, okay? With that, he coolly got on his parked motorcycle, as if nothing had happened, and rode off like the wind. Huh, that motorcycle looks familiar. Oh. It's the bike John used to ride. A bright red off-road bike with yellow inner tires. I remember him proudly talking about how it was a limited model. I knew it. No mistake. I was certain. He is Michael. John and my son. Ever since I got home, I couldn't stop thinking about my son, unable to focus on anything else. I decided to take a leap and contact John's house. It's been 20 years since we divorced and haven't been in touch. I heard through the grapevine that he never remarried and has been a single dad all this time. Hello? John answered after a few rings, and I was taken aback. Hi, this is… Linda. I started talking awkwardly. Linda? What's up all of a sudden? John's voice, sounding puzzled, was somehow nostalgic. Actually, recently. I think I met our son. What? I didn't even understand what I was saying. I mean, meeting our son, what does that mean? I corrected myself. No, I mean, I met a boy who looks just like you. I think he's Michael. Where? At the gym. When I told him the name of the gym, he said, I see, that must be Michael. He works there. I knew it. That's it. Why did he lie about his name being Jake, though? What's that about? Kind of funny, huh? Maybe he thought I was a stalker. We laughed together for the first time in decades. Well, be nice to him, will you? And with that, he hung up abruptly. He hasn't changed a bit, always doing things his own way. I couldn't help but smile. Later, I wanted to thank Michael for his help, so I baked him some cookies, a snack I used to make for him when he was little, and brought them to the gym. Thanks for the other day. Here, I hope you like these. I said, handing over the bag of cookies. Thank you, very much. Michael took them, looking a bit surprised. When I went to the gym again, Michael was at the reception. Good morning, I greeted him. Good morning, he replied, still curt as ever. From the outside, no one would guess we're mother and son. Then, as usual, I changed and got ready to head to the gym. And then… John. Long time no see. It was my ex-husband standing there. The cookies were delicious. Huh? But I made those for Michael. Don't be so cold. Looking around the gym, I saw Michael standing nearby, looking our way. I asked John, why are you here? Just thought I'd get some exercise after a long time. How about the three of us go grab a bite after this, he suggested. I was surprised by John's sudden appearance and invitation to dinner, but I answered with a smile, yeah. Let's go. Hearing our conversation, Michael, who always had a stern face, smiled. After Michael finished his shift, the three of us headed to a nearby family restaurant for our first meal together in 20 years. I thought we could have chosen a more serene restaurant, but I was hungry, so I just went with it and reserved a private room. As we sat in silence, wondering what to talk about, Michael suddenly downed a beer mug and, looking at me, started talking. You know, I've been thinking, maybe, ever since I heard your name. I thought there's no way we'd meet like this. But after eating those cookies, I knew for sure you're my mom. I used to eat them a lot as a kid and loved them. I was surprised to see him talking so freely, unlike his usual cool demeanor. I've always dreamed of getting together with my family as an adult. There's something I've wanted to say for a long time. With a serious look, he gazed into my eyes and said, Thank you for giving birth to me. Mom. The Michael in front of me was so different from the one I saw at the gym. I should be the one saying thanks. You've grown up so strong and respectable. I was overwhelmed with joy at his sudden confession. You did all the housework and raised him all by yourself for so long. John, while saying, stop it, was shedding tears from his eyes. Thank you for calling me mom, even though I haven't done anything as a mother. I said that through my tears. That's not true. You're my mom, always. Michael smiled softly. Seeing my son smile, I felt truly happy to have met him. A week later, we went to a slightly fancier restaurant to celebrate Michael's promotion to head trainer. Since that day, Michael started smiling more often. John and I had mellowed over the years and could now talk amicably. Here's to Michael becoming a leader and to our reunion. Until I met Michael and John, I felt lonely, like I was the only person in the world. But now, I cherish the warmth of my family every day and am enjoying my happy life. I am grateful for this rekindled connection and look forward to cherishing both of them from now on.